Why does Seneca's consensus algorithm, PoASR, actually matter?
Okay, so when it comes to consensus mechanisms, there's a necessity for a blockchain to protect itself. This blockchain needs to protect itself from all the evil people in the world who are going to try to exploit it and take its coins and make the system useless or just for fun. Doesn't matter. It's called game theory, right? What's the means to an end? I always want what's best for me in any situation. I want all the tokens from Bitcoin. I want all my Bitcoin, and nobody can have any. It's all mine. But that's why there's this security mechanism that makes it beneficial for people to play for the rules, for the ecosystem. And when they try to fight the rules, they get punished, right? How does this work at Bitcoin? It works with a Bitcoin miner, right? You buy a Bitcoin miner, spend all this money, spend this electricity, been a long time, and finally you find a block, and finally you do it. And then the malicious part of you is like, oh, but I could, forge a transaction here, and then maybe try it on other miners, or try to make a network and just try to forge everything, and then say all your Bitcoins are my Bitcoins, even though they're not. But I wouldn't do that because it's so damn hard to find a Bitcoin, and they're worth so much that I would lose $52,000 if the other nodes detected that I was being malicious, and I wouldn't get my reward. So I could either be an infinite pool of money and just try to throw as much money at the network as I can and try to take it down. Who would do that? Really, I mean, it's not guaranteed. So that's why Bitcoin's safe, right? Proof of stake is safe in a very similar manner. It's very similar manner because you need money. You need money in order to get block validation because you're staking some sort of coin. When you're staking that coin, you're saying, I'm willing to risk this coin that I'm a trustworthy person to get rewards for the blockchain for every single block that's mine due to me being a staker. Now, where's this a problem? It's so easy for the government to print $1 billion and take over Ethereum. And now they're the majority holder and they want to take out Tornado Cash and increase legislation and ban everybody. They've already done that. Thank you very much. Here we are, 2023, everybody. But there is an alternative system. Let's say that money was not the only backing of who I am as a person. What if my individual information and my identification and who I have established myself to be in the world was a means of validation? Well, that means that money is no longer the most important thing behind the network. That means I still can't attack the network because I can't duplicate myself in the context of the network because there's a security system safeguarding that. So there's a hashing mechanism that's going to make sure every identity on there is unique. And if you lose your identity, yes, there is a way to restore it. But that doesn't mean I can send the same information on different accounts and claim that I'm, Sam Singer, even though I am. I can only do it on one account, and once they have that hash, it's tied to that account. So what that means is it's still safe from me duplicating my identity and saying, everyone give me $1 million. But here's how it works. Everyone pays the same amount to stake. If I pay $1 million to stake, I'm not getting any more chance than if I pay 100. And how does this work? There's a fixed lockup. So when I put in $100, I'm saying I'm willing to lose this $100 if I start being an ass, and that everyone's okay with that. Everybody who starts being an ass will lose $100. But how do I keep this from happening? Like this, you could attack this, right? It's because every time I make a mistake, I have this thing called the trust score. And the trust score is the cumulative score of all of my credentials in verifying information and who I am as a person. So when the verifiers verify me, right, they can associate this blockchain address, which is still anonymous. It has this certain trust score. It's this much likely to be a real person and to not be some clone or some scammer or some spammer. And then I would then be able to use this score as a means of participating in the system. The higher my score is, the higher my chances at a block reward. Okay, so now we're no longer focusing on money as a primary chance of having a block reward. We're focusing on participating in an ecosystem, having credentials, having an identity, being a person, not an institution or a mining pool. Being a person is actually going to be rewarding me on the network. And it's going to be incentivizing me to put my information onto the verification pipeline to be issued as a credential, while completely protecting my identity and who I am as a person and my anonymity, which is completely crazy, right? It's crazy. But that's essentially how it works. And I put up a fixed amount. If I start being bad, I get my trust score slashed. I get a penalty. I can no longer participate in staking for 15 days. I get a cool-off period. And I'm like, why would I do that if I can just get a really high chance of getting a staking reward because I'm being a good person in the system and I'm having a good reputation, and on other apps, they're not going to take my trust score down and say that this guy's probably a bot because look what he's reposting. He's reposting some shit coin, over and over again, he's probably a scammer. So let's, there's systems like that that can control your reputation. So you're encouraged to be a good and helpful member of the community. So that's how the consensus algorithm works, what makes it unique, and what makes it something that could be implemented on a global scale, where it's not just always concentrated power in the hands of, the mining pools of people who can afford a $10,000 miner and still maybe lose money. They can still going to lose money, but here it's a completely different system where people are at the core. It's the people's network. So that's where it is.